Corpbiz.
Hi friends, my name is Srishti Pandey and in this video, let's see roles and responsibilities of CDSCO. Many of us in India have heard about CDSCO and have got confused about its role and relation with DCGI. So what is CDSCO? CDSCO stands for Central Drug Standard Control Organization. CDSCO approves any new chemical entity which is to be imported in India. There are many things to learn about CDSCO. It is India's primary regulatory organization for cosmetic, drugs and medical equipment. The central government has announced its plan to bring in all medical equipment, including plants and contraceptives, under the Central Drugs and Standard Control Organization. CDSCO is governed by Directorate General of Health Services, which comes under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. The headquarter of the Central Drugs Standard Control Organization is located at New Delhi, while it has multiple zonal offices throughout India. CDSCO also works in close context with Central Drug Laboratories to perform quality control tests. CDSCO is the Central Drug Enforcement Office tasked with carrying out its function under the Drugs and Cosmetic Act. Under the Drugs and Cosmetic Act, CDSCO is responsible for approving new drugs, clinical testing conduct, setting drugs standard, regulating the importation of drugs, and coordinating the function of state drug administration organization. CDSCO has 6 regional offices, 4 sub-offices, 13 port offices, and 7 laboratories. The vision, mission, and major function of CDSCO are to protect and improve public health by ensuring the safety, effectiveness, and quality of drugs, cosmetic, and medical equipment, respectively. So let's see the major function of CDSCO. First is drugs. CDSCO is India's national regulatory authority under the Directorate General of Health Services, Department of Health and Family Welfare. The Government of India is establishing India to monitor the safety, efficacy, and the quality of drugs. CDSCO is responsible for approving new drugs, clinical trials, setting drugs standard, regulating imported drugs, coordinating the activities of state drug control agency by providing expert advice and at the same time enforcing the drugs and cosmetic acts. The next is medical equipment. The Central Drug Control Organization is India's main regulatory body for medical devices. The Drug Controller General of India is an important office within the CDSCO. DCGI is responsible for authorizing the production of medical equipment. According to India's regulatory body, it is important to have a CDSCO license for medical equipment manufacturers and seller of medical equipment. As its governing body, each nation is committed under the health department to care for each component of medical equipment. In India, the CDSCO is in charge of overseeing the registration and sale of certified medical equipment. Next is biology. Biological products or biologicals are medical products. Many biologicals are made from various natural resources, human, animal, or microorganism. Like drugs, some organisms are intended to treat, prevent, or diagnose diseases and medical conditions. Biological product includes vaccines, blood and blood products for transfusion and production of other products. Antimicrobials are used for diagnosis and treatment, for example, allergies. Human cells and tissues for transplantation, example, muscles and bones. Genetics and cellular therapy. Screening tests that may donate blood for infectious substance like HIV. Now let's see function undertaken by central authority can be summarized as laying down standard of drugs, cosmetics, diagnostic and devices, laying down regulatory measures, amendments to act and rules, to regulate market authorization of new drugs, to regulate clinical research in India, to approve licenses to manufacture certain categories of drugs as central license approving authority, that is for blood banks, large volume and vaccines and sera, to regulate the standards of imported drugs, work relating to the drugs technical advisory board and drugs consultative committee fee, testing of drugs by Central Drugs Labs. Let's see functions undertaken by state authorities that can be summarized as licensing of drug manufacturing and sales establishment, licensing of drugs testing laboratories, approval of drug formulation for manufacturing, monitoring of quality of drugs and cosmetic manufactured by respective state units and those marketed in state, investigation and prosecution in respect of contravention of legal provision, administrative action, pre and post licensing inspection, recall of substandard drugs. Moving further, let's see who is the head of CDSCO. Dr. V.G. Somani is the head of CDSCO. He holds an M.Pharma and a PhD in Pharmaceutical Science from Nagpur University, India. He previously worked as a joint drug controller at CDSCO in charge of Division of Regulation of Medical Devices and in vitro diagnostic stem cells and blood products, new drugs, which is a combination of next and fixed dosage, and has also worked as a joint director of drugs in charge of biological clinical trial, new drugs and cosmetic enforcement for several years. He has been instrumental in examining the dosage, monitoring and evaluating proposed laws, policies and guidelines. Now, let's understand the difference between DCGI and CDSCO. The Drugs Controller General of India is the director of the department within the Government of India's Central Drugs Standard Control Organization, that is for approving licenses for prescribed category of drugs in India, including blood and blood components, intravenous fluids, vaccination and sera, whereas is an Indian National Regulatory Authority for Pharma and Medical Device Control to give permission for clinical trials in India. India's Drug Controller General is accountable to the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, whereas CDSCO comes under the Directorate General of Health Services, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. The DCGI establishes the standards and consistency requirement for the manufacture, sale, import and distribution of drugs in India. DCGI is the Chief Executive Officers of India's Drug Regulation Agency. The Central Standard Control Organization, which is CDSCO, is responsible for ensuring the consistency of medicines and cosmetic distributed in the country, approving new products and overseeing clinical trials. So in the end, I can say in a nutshell, we say that CDSCO is persistently advancing to bring out transparency, accountability and regularity in its service to ensure promptness, service, safety, quality of the medical products manufactured, imported and distributed in India. In conclusion, it is fair to say that CDSCO guidelines are preserving the public interest with an utmost priority. That's it in this video. Thank you for watching. For more video, like and subscribe our channel.